Hey guys, so the next bit we're going to be looking at is the dotting bit. I actually had to look it up mid-video. It's one of the bits, it's a little bullet shaped bit that comes with the Weller wood burning hobbyist kit. It's a really good quality bit guys, I use it a lot, it's one of my favourite bits. As I say in the video guys, with all these things, these are just the uses I found for them. Different people have their own uses, it's kind of like different people who have different uses for different woodworking machines, or people who have preferences of different kinds of knife in the kitchen. There are purposes each of these bits were made, there are reasons they were made, things they're designed to be good at. But if you want to cut your chicken breast with a bread knife, cut your chicken breast with a bread knife. Anything you can do successfully guys that you think is good, that's fine. I know I filmed the actual video before I did this bit guys, but that was just a time issue. Next guys, with the Weller wood burning hobbyist kit, we're going to move on to some other bits after this one, and I just hope you're enjoying guys. Once again, I don't belong to the Weller company, they didn't give me the machine for free. I'm not doing this as advertisement. Personally I think one of the problems with the Weller machine is it's single temperature, which makes it awkward, so it's all about timing, getting your timings right to get the colour you want. And that's the thing with the Weller wood burning machine guys, you plug it in, it will get hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter until it gets to its full temperature. If you don't want to burn at the full temperature, then you need to use it before it reaches that full temperature, you need to time it right. As I said on the patterning bit video guys, it's all about getting the timing right to get the temperature you want. So guys, you'll move on and have a look at the dotting tip now, and thanks for watching. This is called the dotting tip apparently, with this particular kit. So with the Weller wood burning hobbyist kit, this is the dotting tip. We're going to plug it in, as we always do, and we're going to turn on the lights because it's a little bit dark at the moment. Excellent. So the dotting tip guys, as it said, you can use it for making dots, but you can also use it for an array of other things. So these are 3 pieces that I did pretty much exclusively with the dotting tip. So if I zoom in and I move them underneath one at a time, this one guys, all the hair is done with the dotting tip, and a lot of the shading and shaping is done with the dotting tip. This one guys is done almost exclusively with the dotting tip, aside from a few little bits where I've done slightly thinner lines. This is almost exclusively the dotting tip. You can see it's slightly rough guys, I was getting used to using the point at this. It's a little bit jerky. It's just something that we have to get used to. And this guys, the wings were done with the dotting tip, as well as lots of the shading. Some elements of the dragon's body were done with the dotting tip. So as you can see guys, it's very good as a bit for doing certain kinds of lines and things. So, are we still zoomed in? Yes we are, excellent. So guys, the dotting tip, very simple. I'll do some other videos about drawing straight lines and things. What I've found that drawing straight lines, you should always draw a diagonal to your body, and it's not quite warm enough yet. No, it's not warm enough yet. You should always draw a diagonal to your body when you're drawing straight line guys. Basically, right hand should go left shoulder to right hip, left hand should go right shoulder to left hip. It's simply because that's the way the body works. If you're drawing a straight line across your body horizontally, then you've got all sorts of muscles that are pulling in different directions to keep that line horizontal. If you're drawing a straight line directly towards your sternum, you've got all sorts of muscles and things that are using, pulling your elbow in, things like that. Whereas, if you think about when you're running guys, your arm naturally makes this sort of motion. This is a natural motion for your shoulder joint to make. Right to left, left to right. So when you're drawing straight lines, this is great. This gives a nice rounded effect when you're drawing lines guys. So you get a nice soft rounded line. As it says, it's a dotting point, so you can also use it for a point style of art. So a point style of art would do a line very much like this. So you've got a straight line made up of dots. And literally guys, this is often used especially on end grain wood, because on end grain wood it gives you a bit more control. and it's used just to dot out a little pattern, and I find it to be quite a nice kind of art form. I'm just doing a really quick off the cuff thing here, guys, but you'll find that a nicely done pattern will look very good done in this sort of style. So a little bit too big or a little bit too small an image to be doing with this kind of dotting point. But just because it's a dotting point, guys, don't think that it can only dot. As I said, we've got some nice straight lines, some nice curved lines as well. Curved lines are a bit harder to do, guys, especially if you've got something like pine, which this is, because pine has a big grain density. So I've been doing a lot of lines this way, following the grain. If I go across the grain, guys, even if I put the wood so that it's an angle and I can do it in the right sort of direction, you'll find that I get little skips when I do it. The reason for that is, guys, because the grain is much denser in the bands than it is in the main sections, and that's something to do with pine. If you want to get rid of that, if you want to sort of deal with that thing, then I really recommend something like Hobbyist, because although it has very distinct grain in it, it's not a very big variation of pressures. Or something like bass, because although once again you can see the grain, the variation in density is very different, very gentle. You can also sort of do little flicks and things, guys. Basically, when you're using something like this, what you want to do, if you want to do a nice straight line, guys, you should have it moving before it touches the wood. You should have it moving before it touches the wood and moving as it comes off the wood, and you'll find that you get a nice tidy straight line. If you want to do pointless style, guys, it's literally about touching the wood and leaving it for the right sort of period of time to get the points. If you want to do a slightly varied one, then start with a high pressure and slowly tail off your pressure as you come to the end, and you'll find that you get a slightly varied. Or you can do like a flick. It's very hard to do on pine, but if you can do a flick, you'll find you get a variation in the colour. You can also shade with this, guys, if you're being very careful. You can create a nice shaded block. So there's all sorts of things you can do with the pointless tip, with the dotting tip, sorry, it's called. Yes, the dotting tip. Really, guys, it comes up to what your imagination is, and everyone has different uses for different tips. To be honest, guys, I do most of my work both with this machine and with the other machine using, see, that's very light touch, even at full heat. Very light touch, doesn't give you full black. Even at sort of how long I've been doing it for, guys, whether I'm using this machine or the other machine, I've just got a couple of favourite tips. So this is one of my favourite tips. Another one of my favourite tips with the Weller machine would be the what's it called? Stencil Cutting Tip, apparently. How very odd. Yeah, Stencil Cutting Tip. Strange. The Stencil Cutting Tip, guys. So, as you can see, guys, it's a nice, easy thing to do. And when you're working, guys, always have enough space to turn the piece you're working on. It just gives you the opportunity to work. If you use it at a 90-degree angle, guys, you can get a much wider band, but it's a little bit harder to control. Again, you can use this for area shading, for block shading. The only thing you have to be careful with, guys, with the Weller machine is if the heat shield touches the wood, or if this touches the wood, this section, make sure you can see what I'm doing, then you get an ancillary burn, an extra burn that you don't want. So, guys, that's the dotting tip. That's an assortment of different things to use with it. Don't use a lot of pressure with any tip, guys, because that's no pressure at all. That's the weight of the machine, and it's doing that. If I actually just resist the weight of the machine slightly and actually take some of the weight off, I can create finer, gentler lines. But Don't ever press into it. Even with dotting, guys, literally it's the weight of the machine. I'm just touching it down and bringing it back up, guys. Don't ever push. If you push, guys, you get deep holes and you get a lot of carbon buildup on the tip of your bit. To deal with carbon buildup, guys, pair of pliers, just take the carbon off, or a stropping strip, or brass brush or steel brush while it's still warm so the carbon comes off, and you're done. If you want to change bits mid pyrography, guys, always use a pair of pliers. Always have a glass dish. Never just let it drop onto the side, because it will really badly scar the side. And use a pair of pliers when you put bits in and out so that you don't scald yourself. You really will badly burn yourself, guys, if you're not careful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.